Okay, so it looks like we're live. Okay, welcome guys. I know we're a little bit ahead of schedule here. So what I'm going to do is just give it a little bit of a while for people to join. Hopefully there's some people to join in. And then it will allow me some time to do some housekeeping here and share this video with some of the other pages. So just bear with me for a second. I've got Tara on the other end of the line, who's joining me. She's going to be looking at all the questions that are going to come through. Hopefully you're going to have a whole lot of questions for us. And then I'll answer those questions, hopefully live with you guys. If not, if you're not on the live feed, then just drop your questions in the comments, and then I will read this afterwards and answer those questions if I didn't, if it's not in the actual live show. So, okay. Share it with this photographic community as well. Okay. Alrighty. So, Tori, you can hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Craig. Okay,
cool. I just want to make sure that we're live streaming on here, so that looks great. Hey, we've got a couple of people. Joining. So let me get underway. So what the topic is of today is Moody portraits. It's one of my favorite genres to shoot, so it's a very easy setup for me. But what I'm doing today is I'm going to be using the AD300, okay, as my main light source. And then I'm going to be using the A100 as a backlight for the shoot. And you're going to see what it's going to do. I'll show you what it does and how effective it is at the back. And then what we normally use for Moody portraits is generally we get our big octaves out like this. So it'll give a nice big soft light for the photo shoot. So this is almost like the go-to thing, and you'll see most of my shots that I've done in the studio. This is positioned in different places, and you know my favorite place is above the models like that. That's always a nice go-to. I've also got this one, which is the 8065, which is a much smaller 65 centimeter. I will do a live shoot if you want on this as well, and how effective this small octa is when trying to shoot in the studio and shoot portraits. I've experimented with this, and it's an amazing octa. So that's what we normally use. That's normally our go-to things that we bring out to create this soft light, and you want to do portraits. But today, I'm going to be shooting portraits with this, okay, which is the 80R12 reflector, which is now my favorite piece of equipment in my studio. So, yeah, you know, if you ask people, this is not really the light or the reflector that you should be using to shoot portrait or any kind of portrait anyway, because it's quite hard. It's quite a hard light. But if you know me and you follow some of my work, hard light is kind of what I like. So I'm going to shoot with this, and we're going to see what cool photos we're going to get out. So let me just do a quick setup. I'll show you what we've got going here. Let's put that in nicely. So this reflector, it's a GODOX mount. So it fits nicely onto the AD300. If you wanted to use it you know, you can't, unfortunately, you can't use this reflector on your Bowens mount fitting. So, but the reflector is quite cool. Okay. So there's the front light. Let's just take this back. Okay, so very simple setup here. I've got a black backdrop. I've got a kind of a table here where the model is at. And then I've got a white polyboard on here. Okay, so this is just a normal piece of polystyrene. So it's going to kind of fill in some of the shadows underneath the chin. Okay, so that's pretty much the setup. Let me go and see where the model is, and then I'll get back to you. Okay. So today we are shooting with the beautiful Laura. So we're going to a couple of Moody photos. I've worked a lot with her in the past. She gives a nice look for me. So you'll see now when we take the photo. So I will do some photos with you, and then we'll go look at them on Lightroom, because I'm tethered to Lightroom. So we'll look at the photos and we'll go through them, and you can see the different or the kind of light pattern that's falling onto it. Okay, let's get going. You can stand there for me. I just want to raise this up a little bit more. So it's a very simple, very, very simple light setup. I've got it right in front of the model, as you can see. I've got this. So this is quite close to the back of it. It's going to shoot a little halo around her head. So let me talk to you about my settings quickly. The main light, I'm shooting at 16 power, and the 8100 is also 16 power. Yeah, 16 power. So both lights are 16 power, which I think is going to be okay. 1/60th of a second at f8, and I'm shooting with the 2470 f2.8 lens. Okay, so let's do a quick test photo to see that all our, and I always do this, I always do a quick test photo just to see that I'm happy with the lighting, and then my settings. So it's one picture, and then we go and check out to see what we want to do. Cool. Okay. So let me share your screen. Oh, sorry, my screen. Let's see that. Okay. Okay, Tori, is that on your, can you see that?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so come and look, Laura. Come and look and see the shot here. Okay, so I've already put a small preset on here from what I previously had. But let me restart this again. So let's just go reset. Okay, so there's the photo straight out of the camera. You can see I've got some nice small catch lights in the eye, but even though it's coming through that hard reflector, you can still see it's got quite a nice softish light, and you can see around the back here how nice that light is at the back. Let me quickly go and do one, and we'll switch that light off. So just go and stand back there. I'm going to switch that backlight off. And the beauty about it is I don't have to go there to go and switch it off. I can just turn it off here. So this is the shot without the backlight. Let's have a look at that. Okay. So you can see the difference that there is. Just to show you quickly. So there it's without the light at the back, and then this is the one with the light at the back. So I definitely prefer that. There's many ways that you can do this. I mean, I'm shooting it straight onto the back of the backdrop, which is giving me that halo around, and then the nice dark vignettes on the side. You know, you could actually point the hair, the light at her hair, and maybe separate her from the background like that. But this is one of my favorite ways of doing this. So I kind of like that. So what I did from here is I've got a couple of presets here. We'll go with the Robin black and white. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of my own little, basically how I wanted it to change a little bit to get that kind of moody photo that I'm looking for. And as simple as that is, I'm kind of hitting exactly what I'm looking for in that short amount of time. So we can look at that and say, okay, that's the photo that we're wanting to do. So we can go on from there and take a couple of photographs. So that's how quickly you can set up. I must say that I did kind of half guess the settings, but when you've shot a lot, you kind of get a feel for what the settings are. I would have expected a little bit of a lower power on the back, 8100, but at a 16th, it's looking quite cool. The nice thing about the 8300 is that I'm shooting the 8300 at a 16th power, which is like almost, you know, you'll be able to shoot this for the whole day. And I'm still shooting it at f8. So, you know, there's so much power saving that I'm getting from this little light. And, you know, the light that I'm getting on to Lara is amazing. So at f8, at a 16th power, the light is really producing something that's really good for me. So let's do a couple of more shots. And then we can see if there are any questions. I'm going to do one more. Stay on it. See one more view to see that's transferring the image that I want to do. Now, so I did this. So let me just copy that. There, previous. Here's it. And what I didn't do was turn back on that light. So from my camera, I can turn that light back on again. It's back at 16 power. Give it a quick test shot, and it's working. So let's go and have a look. Okay. All right, now that. Here. No. And a little bit sound coming here. Now it come down. There we go. Now so do this with your. Let's push the head away from the shoulders. Let's get something in that side. Yeah. Okay. Bring your shoulders a little bit forward for me. So you can go some nice forward. A little bit this way. Turn down. That. Turn a little bit side on. Now. Okay. Have a look. Alrighty, hopefully you're seeing these photos as I'm taking them. I think they're coming out really, really awesome. Nice and tight crop there. I like that. But you can see how nice that light is falling on Lara. You know, it's not too harsh. It's not making massive amounts of shadows on her. You can see the shadows are quite, they're quite sharp. But you know, I like this. I like the way this is looking. This is not to say that you shouldn't be using a big octa, because you know you can. And I mean, I think a lot of the time I'm shooting with a big octa. So this is just to show you how versatile this reflector is, and that we only seem to be wanting to use the reflector under certain conditions or to create certain things. And that sort of limits us. So I've got that big reflector, but I mean, the most common reflector everybody has is the 7-inch reflector. So, which I really like, and I've used this an amazing amount of times. So very happy with this. But then when they sent me this big reflector, I thought, wow, I'm very keen to start using that. So yeah, so I think we can get the kind of photographs that we want to do out of these, out of these reflectors. And I think experimenting and getting the kind of photos that we want is very important. Let's do another quick setup. I'll give you a little second here. I'll just set up another setup for you, just to show you how I can use this light a little bit differently. So we just remove this. So this is another use of the reflector. Let's try and change the background a bit. So white background. And let's change this light. There's a little bit of a setup time, but it's not massively inconvenient. So I haven't changed anything with the settings. I'm going to switch off the 8100 because I don't really need that. I don't think at the moment. I'm going to fire this off and see what happens.
Craig,
Yes.
we've got a couple of questions, and people are asking, they can't see your setup because you've still got your screen shared.
Sorry. Okay.
There was a question about your background light, wanting to know where it was, but they couldn't see you moving it away now.
Oh, okay.
And then another question about what lens you're using.
Okay, so the lens I'm using is a 2470 f2.8, and I'm shooting it at f8. In the previous setup, if I can show you here, so can we stand facing that way? Facing that way. So this light was about there, behind Laura, and it was shooting onto that black background. So she was hiding it with her back. So she couldn't move from side to side. She was basically standing there and blocking the light. But that's up close. I'll try and get it as close as I can to the back. Obviously, the more you move it towards the background, the smaller the halo will get. The further you move it away, the bigger the halo will get. So that's how you're going to determine how far you want her away from the backdrop, and where you want your light to be. So you can play with it. So sometimes I see people have got it's got the light quite close, and then it's making a little round ball like that. And that's not really what you're wanting to do. You want to create it around her. So you will then move her backwards and forwards from the backdrop so that you can move your light and make a bigger light. So that's the one scenario to sort out. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah, just you. I forget where I am here at the moment. So you just got to shout at me if I'm not showing you what you're wanting to do. I'm going to move my camera a bit. So I've changed the backdrop now into a white backdrop. I've moved that light now off to the camera right. It's obviously on axis, and it's coming in from the right, a little bit high up. And I've switched off the 8100. Okay. So the light will be spilling from here. I haven't changed the setting of the light yet. I'm not sure that I have to. And we're going to shoot down this way. So if you can kind of stand for me about the light here. Okay. I'm going to do a quick test shot. I'm going to see how we pan out. I'm going to use the same setting. Okay, so let me show you here. Let me share my screen, and I'll show you the whole process of what we're doing. So let's try that. Can you see that?
Yep, can see it.
Okay. All right. Let me just get a. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape on the ground so that we always know where we're going to stand. And I can adjust the light from there. Okay, so what's in the back of my mind is I'm trying to create a little bit of a detail in the background. Okay, so which I'm really getting. So I'm getting this. I'm getting this corner of my backdrop. Okay, let me change this back. Yes, this is hard work. Okay, so this is shaped in an L shape. So I'm trying to create a light to create a shadow on the back here. Okay, so it's going to be a gradient shadow on the back here with shadow here, and then the white backdrop over here. But then the light is going to fall onto Lauren. Okay, so she's going to be nicely lit up. I'm just going to get that kind of where I want it to be. Just making sure that the light is falling on this and another one. Change a little bit facing back a bit at me. Okay. So I've got my lighting set up. I'm going to share the screen with you again, just so that you can see how it is panning out with you. Okay, can you see that?
Yep, I can see.
Okay, so for me, the lighting is a little bit too, the power on the light is not bright enough for me. So I'm going to take it down to 8. Do another quick test. Just to see how the light's falling on, Laura. And I'm kind of digging that. Okay. So there you can see the shadow that's falling behind Laura, which I'm creating with the B flat. She's obviously standing a little bit out of that range. Okay. Okay, so we can just get a bit of not looking too much down. Okay. Stand hard and maybe kind of give you that sort of that kind of look, and let's see how that's going to work. Tiny bit this way. Yeah. Okay, that's beautiful. Now that. Let's see that. it's just a little bit too bright for me. So let's turn that on. Okay. So I think I'm getting what I like here. I like that shadow to be a little bit more. I'll make that background shadow a little bit longer. Okay. So I'm liking that. So I've got a bit of shadow in the background, giving a little bit of a different feel to the background. And then I've got a nice light for it onto light. Okay, so let's do chair here. Let's do a couple of shots of this. A little bit, yeah, kind of half facing out here. Yeah. And then, even though you have your chin a little bit up from me, just try and also make eye contact with me as well. So we do a little bit of a wider shot here. Just to see what this is going to look like. Yeah, okay, so I'm loving it. Okay, so let's do a couple of shots like this. Move around as much as you want. Just make sure you understand where the light's coming from. And here we go. Love, 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 love. Okay, so I've moved there. So I've moved a little bit to the right. I'm going to shift towards the back. Shift yourself towards that light. And then we're going to shift on this side. Go with me, but I want to just do a quick test like this. So have a little very different effect. Okay, now that. Now. Yeah. All righty. Okay, come look. All right, so very simple light setup. What I did was I did make the power a little bit. I took it up from a 16th power to an 8th power, just so that I could get the kind of light that I was looking for. And then you can see here. I'm standing sort of to the left. I'm shooting from the left at an angle, shooting across this way. And you can see the different look that I'm getting there. We're making sure that Laura is always favoring where the light's coming. I like that the pattern I'm creating, that shadow, just by using that V flat and moving that the light around. So we've got some different angles there.
Craig, we've just got a question about your positioning.
Yeah.
Any reason for positioning the model at the center of the V flats and adding light to the one side, maybe for contrast?
Just say it again.
So basically, the lady's asking, what is the reason for positioning the model at the center of the V flats and adding a light to the one side? Is it just for contrast?
Yeah, so I'm trying to create a shadow with the one angle of the V flat. So if you look on the screen now, you can see that shadow that's going behind her head there. I'm creating that with the light. So it's coming in from one side. And then creating that sort of moody light look. You can see a lot of light on her right side compared to that. So I'm looking for high contrast. I think if I don't move that and I don't create something in the background, then it's just, you know, a girl on a white or a gray wall. And there's nothing wrong with that because I shoot a lot of that. But you know, if you want to add some variety, and this is what this is all about, is not doing the same old things that you see all the time. This is maybe taking what you have and maybe using it differently, and experimenting a little bit more with what you have rather than going white wall, gray wall in the middle, or light from the side, flash it, no shadows, no nothing. Those are all great, you know. I think once you've learned how to do that and you're skilled at doing that and you're understanding how your light is falling and where you want the light to fall, I think that's when you need to start sort of breaking out and going, you know what, I'm kind of liking this. So, you know, I'm shooting this. This is something that I see in my head and I think, okay, well, let me try this, you know, let me try and create the shadow. What happens if I do that? What happens if I put that light where it is at the moment? And what is it going to look like? And then I look at that and I think, you know, I dig that. So just gives it a little bit of a different vibe to it with the shadow in the back there. I mean, even that V looks flipping nice. Okay, so these were some of the test shots we were doing before we started. Okay, but I'm loving this. And how nice is that? I love it. Yeah. Okay. So there's also a nice thing when the model is also looking at the work and going, wow, they like that. So it's always nice to hear, you know. At least you're going in the direction that you want. So these are, yeah, so these are a couple. Yeah, so I think we've got some really cool shots here. Yeah, it's also very nice.
Craig, before you leave your laptop, there's a request that when you're shooting, if we can see you shooting and then just look at the images afterwards, because people can't see how you're moving and how you're setting up the model.
Cool. Sweet. Okay, cool. So I'm going to swap this. We're going to go back here. And then you're going to play. Okay, so what I normally do is I've got a little stool like this, which I sit on. It allows me to move around and shoot at different angles. And that gives me a nice vibe. Standing more. Okay, I'll have a quick test just to see if I'm liking this. Like that. Okay, so we'll do a set here. So I'm moving around. When I'm on this side, we'll just kind of follow me. When I go to this side, don't turn too much towards me. Just make sure I like that long neck that you have. And then just drift and create that look that always gets good. Okay. Alrighty, so hopefully you can see me still on the same. So I'm shooting with a 2470, so I can get quite close. Let's have a look and see. Okay. So I'm shooting off to the left now. So I'm getting a lot more contrast. Making sure that when the model is posing, that she understands where the light is coming from. Because what will happen is, okay, let's turn a little bit this way. Yeah, if you turn, that's actually quite a cool shot. It's quite a cool shot. Yeah. So she's always aware of that, and you need to be aware of that as well yourself, because I've worked with Laura, so she kind of knows what I'm doing and what she needs to do. Actually, certainly a little more. Just do it like that. So now I'm shooting from the other side. So it's going to give you a completely different, vibe again. Yeah. Like that. And go to the right way, like that. Turn around completely, so body this way, yeah. So some big hits. Okay. That's really cool. Loving that. Not going to shoot sunlight straight on it, so not at any different angle, just love the attitude. Love. Just see the last couple. Yeah. Let's just do this way. Awesome. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, it's always good to move around. As you move around in the studio and the lights are in the same place, it's going to cast a different light onto the subject, and you're going to get different patterns of light, and you're going to get different moods that you're going to get from that from the light. So you'll see if you've shot with me or you've watched me shoot, I'm constantly moving around, down, up, to the left, to the right, just seeing what I can get from those light patterns. Because I've known from experience, to sit in one place and shoot, is sometimes you're just getting the same shot like 100 times. The girl is or the model Laura is trying to stand in one place and trying to emote emotions. What happens with me as well is, what happens with us is, when I move, Laura is following me where I'm going, and she's then emoting those looks in the different directions that I'm in. Also keeps her kind of thinking and on her toes and making the moves that you're wanting to do. Also getting her from different angles on her body and things like that. So it's always important not to sit down and just set up and shoot. So you'll see there's a lot of times that I won't, very seldom do I shoot with a tripod. And having said that, there's nothing wrong with shooting with a tripod. It's just the way that I like to shoot, and this is what this is about, is just showing you different ways that you can do stuff. Okay, so these are the photos that we got from that last set. So the last couple I did quite tight shots there, which I kind of like that. I mean, that's very, very moody. I like the look. And that's also beautiful. Okay, so look at that. I mean, that's just, for me, is really, really cool. So yeah, these are from straight in front of it. And then these are the ones I shot a little bit to the right. So you see how the light pattern is falling on there, and then if we carry it on, like that. Yeah, and then you see I'm shooting from the left side now. So you see how different the light is falling on her, and how the change of the background shadow becomes. Obviously, you can see she's focusing and looking towards the light. She understands that's where the light's coming from, and then she will work towards that. And then she's not worried about what I'm doing and where I am. She just knows that that's where her light is, and then she needs to play to that light and let me do my work. And if I'm at a place where I don't think it's right, then I will move, or maybe make slight adjustments to how she is standing or posing. But I very rarely try and, yeah, I like that too. Very rarely try and tell the model what to do. I'd rather let her, look at that. Yes, so that's hectic. Amazing. Okay, so that's amazing. So yeah, we've got some really cool photos there. Okay.
Craig, we have a question.
Yeah.
If you would decide to add a catch light, how many stops under would you have that to still have the strong shadow effect, or would the strength vary according to what your vision is?
Yeah, man, that's me. So So I come from film cameras where I used light meters quite a lot. And then when I started in digital cameras again, I had a light meter, and I used a light meter a lot as well, because that's the thing that I knew. But as cameras progressed, I mean, the light meter reading in your camera is great. And I've become very, what I like. So sometimes if you ask me after the fact, what were my settings on my lights, I can't really tell you, because I will adjust that light according to how I like it, and how it's falling on the model at that specific time. And that's the most important thing for me, is when I look at it on my screen and I like the way the light is falling on there. It's irrelevant to me whether it was a 16th power or an 8th power or a quarter power. It doesn't matter to me. It matters what it looks like on the screen. And that's what I'm going for. So I'm very much a feel and how much light I need to add. Because if I worked, for example, what I found is when I worked with a light meter, and I was shooting with Laura, and she's got dark brunette hair, and I measure that light output at whatever power, quarter power, 8th power on her. And I bring in another girl, and she's got blonde hair, and that light is still needing to be at 8th power. The light that's falling onto the blonde hair and the light that's falling onto the dark hair is completely different for me. So then it's not an 8th power. So even though the light meter is saying that it should be an 8th power, the look on the blonde-haired girl and the look on the dark-haired girl for me is different. And I would set it by my eye. I don't like that, or that's too bright, or that's not bright enough. I need this brighter. So even when I'm shooting with my main light, there's no light meter. There's no setting that I'm kind of going to go for. There's a kind of a starting point where I know, look, you know, I think that the light should be around about an 8th, but then I will play with it and to see what look I'm wanting. And that would depend on, have I surrounded her with black V-flats? Have I surrounded her with white V-flats? All those things play a different part in the photo. But for me, it's very much sight. I look at it. If I like it, it's cool. If I don't like it, I will move it. I'll move it closer, I'll move further away, I'll make it higher, I'll make it lower, depending on what we are trying to shoot or what I'm feeling on that particular day. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not very technical and shoot like this, put it over there, 45 degrees, make sure it's on the 8th power, usual, I'm not like that. There's no recipe for me. I just plonk shit down and shoot it. And if I like it, I'll leave it like that. If I don't, I will mess with it.
Always comes out awesome though.
Anything else?
Craig, somebody wants to know if you only work with models or with like normal women, she says, because models know how to move. And obviously the rest of us don't.
I promise you, Laura's a normal woman.
I am very, very normal.
Okay, so no, I work with everybody, man. I work with everybody. So, I mean, you don't have to be a model to be in my studio. I've just used
fix everything.
I just use on these kind of scenarios. I just like to use somebody that I've worked with before, so that I don't have to spend that time coaching and doing all those things that I need to do. So it's much easier for me. I can now focus on what I'm trying to do with the equipment or the light or the backdrop or the camera and the settings. And I'm not really focused on Laura. You know, I can basically spend 5 minutes with Laura before the shoot and say, this is what we're going to do. And she goes, cool. And then we just do it. But no, my work is not only working with models. It's families sometimes. It's corporate headshots. I photograph cardboard boxes, tile, I mean, all sorts of things. But yeah, I think I had a discussion about 2 weeks ago with regards to photographers being comfortable shooting people or shooting girls that are not models. And it's a very difficult task that you need to overcome, because there's a lot of input that you need to give to the model for her to give you the look, or for the look that you are wanting. And if the girl is not a model, or has no idea, or is just somebody that wants to come for a photo shoot, there's a lot more work that you need to put into that photo shoot with regards to trying to get her to be as natural as she can be, as opposed to working with somebody that you've worked with before, or has worked with other photographers that kind of comes into the studio and can bring what you need. You must also remember that not every model that walks in here is the kind of model that I'm looking for. So some bring very bad habits into my studio. So they've got what I call, the robot posing, like because they've been working for commerce or whatever, e-commerce work, and so that's what they needed. So I've got to get rid of all of that stuff to try and get into the place where I want them to shoot and the looks that I want. So it's always hard work. There's no easy way to do this. That's why I pick somebody like Laura to come in here where I don't have to worry about what she's doing. I can give her 1 or 2 little snippets of do this, but I'm not focused on her. I'm trying to focus on talking to you guys. What I would suggest though, if you want to get better at what you're doing, is go and hire a model. Go and pay an hour and go and hire somebody like Laura, and she will then present to you what you are looking for. And it's a lot easier because she understands what she needs to do, and she's not asking you, well, you tell me how to stand, or you tell me how to pose, or you tell me how to do. And you'll get a lot of tips. You'll learn for that hour that you spend on that professional model. It's invaluable amount of what you will learn back from her as a photographer that you can then take and go to your next photo shoot and then impart that knowledge onto her. I hope that answers that question.
But Uncle Craig is amazing. He's literally amazing.
There's one more question. What's your favorite, umbrella or softbox?
Listen, man, they're both awesome. So I've got a massive umbrella, which I do use quite a bit. I think you can get very good looks out of both. If you've chatted to me before or you've seen some of my videos, I'm not that photographer that has one thing that does one thing. Okay? So you can have a look now, is that this reflector, just get it off here. Okay, so this reflector shouldn't be used. So that's the whole crux. It shouldn't be used to shoot portraits. Okay, but I can do it, and you can do it. So it doesn't matter whether you are choosing an umbrella, and you're going to choose that umbrella for a variety of different reasons. Maybe you can get it nice and bigger. Maybe it's a cost thing. Maybe it's a portability thing. So it's quite difficult to drag your P90 or your P120 or your 120 octa, fold it and unfold it and put it back together. I know that the new ones are nice for quick release, but in the past, you had to put it together and it was a mission. But when you had an umbrella, it was basically like whoop, and you're done. So there isn't one that's better than the other one. You can get the same kinds of looks with both of them. So if you've got a lot of octas in there, then you're going to be able to get those looks. If you're looking to buy something that's a little bit more portable and you can move around, get an umbrella. You'll get those exactly the same looks. If you experiment enough, you'll get those looks that you're wanting to do with that. So all my lecturing and chatting about stuff and equipment and things like that, I'm always going and I'm always going to ask you guys, you have to experiment with your stuff. This can't only be used for one thing, okay? I can't afford it to be just a one-horse reflector, that I can only use it for this specific thing. I need to find many, many uses for this, okay? Then it makes me money, this thing. For me to spend money on this is then relevant. If it's only got one use, it's very difficult for me to justify to buy something like that. It has to have different kinds of uses. So when you're looking at buying an Octa or an umbrella, it's really personal choice. You should be able to get all sorts of really, really good looks out of both of those.
One more question. How much time do you spend on editing?
Okay, so you saw today, if you were here from the beginning, I took a photo of Laura. I got the lighting set up correctly that I liked. We saw it was in color. I have a few presets that I've created over the years. I clicked on one of them. It got me maybe 60% of where I wanted to. And I spent literally a minute adjusting that. And these are the photos that you're seeing on the screen. So that's how long these photos will be. So if I put this photograph back up here, so this photo, I would give Laura this photo. Okay. I hope that makes sense, because it's the kind of shoot that I'm doing. If I'm doing something different with Laura, so let's say I'm doing a beauty shoot with Laura. So we've properly made up and everything is done and the hair's whatever, and I'm doing nice tight shots. I'm spending maybe an hour, maybe 40 minutes per photo, where I'm really dodging and burning and getting everything just perfect, exactly like that. Because either it's for a client. So if I'm shooting for MAC or Smashbox or one of the cosmetic agencies, they're wanting that perfect look where all the skin is the same tone and everything is right and there's no line and there's no this and no. So you spend the time there. But generally speaking, if I do a photo shoot, you will get your photos within 48 hours of the photo shoot. And purely because how I've just showed you now, it's literally, you shoot it right, you shoot it correctly, you light it correctly. You know, I spent 5 minutes, even less, to get where I wanted to go to. I mean, even that is quite a cool photo. So let's share that one. Can't remember. So I'll show you some of the presets that I do have. So we could have gone, we could have gone to use that one. There's a little bit of a desaturation. There's a nice one that I generally like. So, that's how quickly that photo has been edited. There's going to be some here that are not going to be good. So I'll show you one that won't be. So, that's not a good edit. So that's one of my presets, which will work on other photos. That might be a little bit dark, but that's a good starting point. So if I click on that and I make a couple of adjustments, how long does that take? So I've got quite a few. Here's Laura. So here's some from Laura. So I've made some of these. They don't particularly work for this particular shoot because I've created these for a shoot that we've done in the past. So, there's another black and white that would work quite nicely. So, yeah. These presets are presets that I've created from shoots that I've done. And if you look at the names there, they're all of people that I've shot. So if I created a preset for Laura, I'll call it Laura Color Beach or Laura Black and White Studio or something, you know, because I've made a significant change to another black and white preset, if that makes sense. Then I would create, if I've made a massive change to a starting preset, then I would just kind of like make it that preset. I'll make another preset for that. And then you'll see a lot of the times the black and whites, I've maybe got about 8 or 10 presets for black and white. But for color, there must be 100. And why? It's because of skin color. So everybody's got a different skin color. Doesn't matter who you are, you've got a different skin color. And when you're doing color grading on skin, it makes a massive difference. So what looks nice on one skin tone, and you put it onto another skin tone, and it looks horrendous. Then you'll have to make a skin tone or you'll make a preset for that skin tone, or a color grade for that skin tone, and so it grows. So that's why I've got so many color presets as opposed to black and white presets. But you shouldn't be spending hours and hours and hours and hours editing. Okay, should be relatively quick. If you can't get your photos out within a day or so, I don't know how the models will take that, or your clients.
A question here, what's your favorite GODOX all-round product that you always take with you?
Okay, so as it's gone on, it's changed quite a bit. So at the moment, 8300, man, it's just power, you know. It's portable, it goes anywhere, it packs in your bag, it's got enough power for me to shoot with anything. So yeah, I think that's great. You know, not to take away from my 600. My 600 is also a go-to thing for me, and I will pack that in my bag when I need to. It's hectically powerful. I mean, it gets me gives me light that you just can't get anywhere else. So yeah, that at the moment the 300 is definitely my favorite. My next favorite thing is this thing. Okay, can't tell you more about that, but so this thing is my new favorite. I started using this. I'm going to do a video for you with this. Okay, so this is a 65 centimeter octa, which I love the size of it. Okay, so I want to push this thing to its limits to see how much, what I can get out of it. So I'm quite excited for that. And then, this is also flipping amazing. When I first saw this thing, I thought it was very, very limited in what it could do. I've used it twice now on some shoots, and it's blown me away. So I'll do a video on this as well. I'll do a live on this, just specifically just using this and the kind of photos that I'm going to get with this. And remember, the other thing, this thing doesn't have, I know you can get a kit for this where you can stick things on the front. I don't have that. So the live video that I'm going to shoot with this is just going to be bare bones like this. And we're going to see how cool we're going to get, the cool photos we're going to get from this. So we'll do that. So yeah, favorite thing at the moment, definitely the 8300 as a light. Yeah. What else? Any more questions?
Sorry, yeah, there was one. Does that fit light shaping tools?
Huh?
I think that reflector of yours, or else it's the 8300, I'm not sure what Chris is asking about. Does that fit light shaping tools? So I'm assuming like different light shaping things he wants to know about.
8100.
I'm not sure which one he's asking about. He was asking about the 8300 earlier, so possibly that.
Okay, well, let me just speak to both of them. Okay, so this one has got no ability to put a GODOX mount or a Bowman's mount. What you could do with this is you could take your S2 bracket, you could stick your 8100 into your S2 bracket, and then you could connect a Bowman's mount diffuser onto the front of this, and then it would work. So you have that option, but it doesn't, as it stands here, it doesn't have the connections here for you to put on a diffuser or any kind of reflector. But you do get the kit where I think it's magnetized, so you get a grid and you get different snoots and whatever you get on it. Okay, on the AD300, what we have is we've got the GODOX mount. Okay, so it's very different from the Bowman's mount. So let me show you what they look like. So there's a Bowman's mount. You can see how these things are. So this is a Bowman's fitting. So that'll fit into something like that. Okay, so it'll fit into there. And then you've got the GODOX mount. So you can see it's a little bit different. So that will fit into this AD300 and make a nice little fitting there. So is this. So this has got a GODOX mount, so it will only fit onto this light at the moment. But again, you could take this light, you can stick it through, okay, and then you can put a Bowman's mount onto that. So hopefully that's the question I'm answering. Anything else?
That looks like all for now.
Okay, cool. Okay, guys, thanks so much for joining this this shoot of mine. I really appreciate it. I hope you've learned some new things to do. I hope you go out and experiment with your equipment that you do have. If you're not watching this live and you haven't made your comment, please drop a comment. Keep commenting on the bottom, and I will answer your questions for you when this live is over. And then also, if there's something else that you're wanting to see specifically, you know, drop GODOX a line, you know, message them on their Facebook or on their Facebook page, and just drop them a line and say, hey, I'd really like to see this, and then we'll see what we can do. If I've got that stuff in the studio, I'm happy to share with you and show you how I use it and hopefully teach you a couple of things. So thanks to the beautiful Laura for joining me today and doing an amazing bit of work without too much chirping from me. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And yeah, chat to you later. Okay.